Hi, Phyllis here from southernfrugal.com. We're getting ready to make some whoopie pies, and it's really a glorified moon pie, pretty much, okay? Anyway, they're very popular, and apparently they started either in Pennsylvania or Maine. I think there's some question on where they actually started, but many years ago, and there's all types of varieties of whoopie pies, and the one I'm going to make, I'll just call it a milk chocolate whoopie pie. It's going to be a little chocolate cakes, probably about that big around, and they're going to have a cream cheese filling in them. All right, the first thing we're going to do, turn this down so you can see, there you go, is we're going to combine our dry ingredients. Now, this is going to take 2 1/4 cups of flour, and of course it's all-purpose flour, and I am using the King Arthur. Now, I'm not going to sift it before I measure it, and because I'm not sifting it before measuring it, I'm going to just be stirring it up and fluffing it up, you know, right in the pack. Now, I've cut the top of this off because I've used part of it to make bread, so I'm just going to just stir it up, fluff it up a little bit. Alright, so this is going to take 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose white flour. And I was getting my sugar out of my measuring cup. Alright, so 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose white flour. So there's 1. 2 1/4. And again, I fluffed the flour up before I took it out of the bag. Now to this, you're going to add 3 tablespoons of cocoa. Now, I usually use Hershey cocoa, but they didn't have it in the store last time, so I bought the Nestle's or Nestle's and Toll House cocoa. So again, that's 3 tablespoons, because remember, this is going to be milk chocolate. All right, we're going to use 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and we're going to use 1/2 teaspoon baking soda. And there is a difference between the two. And then 1/4 teaspoon of just regular salt. Oops, too much. Remedy that by, I would throw that over my shoulder, but I don't want to mess up my floor. Okay, so these are our dry ingredients. Now we're just going to sift those together, which will really help to, you know, combine everything equally. Just use a spoon will work. And of course that chocolate gets some little hard little things in it. Little, I don't know what they are. They're hard though. Anyway, so we got that mixed up. Now we're going to set this aside because these are our dry ingredients. And when we start mixing the dry ingredients in, you're going to need 3/4 of a cup of whole buttermilk. Alright, so now we're ready to get started. We've got, this is softened butter, and it's 1 stick plus 1/2 of another stick, or 3/4 of a cup of butter. It can be salted or not salted, whatever you prefer. So let me get my spatula here. And to this, I'm going to mix in 1 cup of just regular sugar. And mix that around a little bit to get it going before I put the mixer in it. Yeah, I hear my dogs in there. They're getting ready to start barking. I think the garbage men are coming. Okay. 1 whole large egg. Now this is an extra large egg actually. I'll just get that all mixed in. Now, after we do this, get this egg sort of incorporated a little bit, I'm going to put the mixer in there and we're going to cream this and kind of until it looks, you know, kind of like a lemony looking color. And it won't take long for that. All right. So again, just a hand mixer will work. Just get all of it off my spatula. Now you're going to preheat your oven to 375. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but you will need to preheat it to 375. And you'll need a couple of pans lined with parchment paper or either lightly greased. All right, that's good enough. All right, now we're going to start combining our dry ingredients and the buttermilk. Now you want to just put your dry ingredients in. Use about, I'd say, 1/3 first. Dry ingredients first. And just better to do that by hand because you don't want the flour dust all over everything. So just get it in just a little bit. And then we're going to add 1/2 of the 3/4 cup whole buttermilk. It's about half of it. Now this comes together pretty quick. Now we're going to add back another 1/3 of our flour and cocoa mixture. And again, this is going to be a milk chocolate. I'm not real thrilled with the dark chocolate, but if you wanted dark chocolate, you could probably add double the amount of cocoa. Maybe, I don't know, as much as 1/4 of a cup probably. But I like the milk chocolate, so. All right, we've got that somewhat mixed in. We're going to add the rest of the buttermilk. All right, now we're going to put in the rest of the flour. Now this is going to be a thick, almost like a cookie crust, really. Now, when you bake them, you'll want to have a large cookie sheet, and really preferably lined with parchment paper. And you want to space them out about 2 inches apart. And let me just show you this now. I use my little melon scoop because that's a tablespoon. But if you don't have one, you can just use a regular spoon. You want to get about a full tablespoon worth and space them out about 2 inches apart on the cookie sheet. Now let me finish incorporating this. And again, it's very much like making a cookie dough, really. All right, now the other thing we want to do, I'm going to do that right now, is I'm going to use vanilla extract. You want the pure extract, and this is the Madagascar vanilla. It's really good. It's also hard to open these little bottles. All right, we're going to use a whole teaspoon of this vanilla. and maybe even a little more. There we go. Just going to sprinkle that around. Smells delicious. I'll have to wipe that bottle off when I... All right, now just mix that in as best you can. Of course, I'm tempted to put my hands in there, but I won't. It's very much like mixing up cookie dough. In fact, the whoopie cake is kind of like a soft cookie, really. All right. All right, I think we've got that mixed up enough. And now we're going to go ahead and dip it onto our cookie sheet. Get the stuff out of the way. Wipe my hands off. Have to move the camera just a little bit. Right, so here's the pan. This is a big, I think this is maybe a 12 by 15, I'm not really sure. Anyway, I'm going to get just a little water. In case I have to smooth any of them down. All right, you're just going to take your bowl of batter and just put it right down on the sheet. It doesn't have to be perfect. It'll be standing up a little bit. Might be better to oil this little melon ball cutter, I guess. Get it to come out. I'll make those a little more rounded after I've dipped them out. You want to space them about 2 inches apart on the cookie sheet. And again, this is milk chocolate whoopie. There we go. I think I've got room for one more on the end. And you might really have better luck with a tablespoon than you do with this little melon ball thing. Now, if they're not perfectly round, it's really okay because they'll still be good. I'm going to dip my fingers in a little bit of water and just get these a little more rounded. And I think for the next batch, I'm going to go back to my tablespoon because I'm having to, get them rounded out anyway. And these are going to bake at 375 for really about 12 minutes in my oven. Your oven might be different, so I'm going to say anywhere from 10 to 14 minutes. You just want, when you check them in the oven, you want to just barely touch them and see if they spring back. If they do, they're ready. All right, when these get done, we'll be back. So that'll be about maybe 12 minutes. Okay, my little whoopie cakes are done. They spring back, and I'm going to let them sit on this for this parchment paper for maybe about 5 minutes. Then I'm going to transfer over to a wire rack to finish cooling. But what I wanted to show you is I've given up on this unless I can spray it with some Pam. So I'm just going to do that, see if that'll help me out. And yes, that worked. Just you need to spray your little either tablespoon or whatever you're using with a little bit of Pam. It worked, but not all that great. But it definitely worked better than not doing anything. And mine did need to cook for 12 minutes in my oven. I would say, you know, you can go as long as 14 minutes depending on your oven, but you don't want to overcook them. All right, I'm going to do one more. Now this time, I'm going to put my batter in the refrigerator because I'm probably going to do this 2 more times. So I'm going to put this in the refrigerator just because it's been sitting out for a while. Now we're going to make a cream cheese little filling to go in there. Now I've taken my cream cheese out and opened it up, and I'm letting it sit and sort of get it room temperature, and because this is going to go in the filling. And I'm also going to need, for the filling, I'm going to need a half of a cup of butter at room temperature, and so I'm going to take that out and probably put it in the microwave. But anyway, I'll put this in the refrigerator right now, and we'll be back after I've cooked all these, and we'll make the filling. All right, we're back, and all our little whoopie cakes are all done. And that's what they are, little cakes, okay? And now we're getting ready to make the filling. Now for the filling, you'll need 3 cups of sifted confectionery sugar or powdered sugar, 1 stick of butter, totally melted, okay? You want it totally melted. Well, again, that's 1 stick melted. I'm just going to go ahead and pour that in. And then here's where your 8 ounces of cream cheese comes in. Now this has been sitting out really for a couple hours now. So I'm going to stir that butter around just a little bit. And I'm going to drop in my cream cheese. Now it's a little difficult to use a mixer on this because it is going to be pretty thick. So you probably want to just go ahead and mix that by hand by just mashing it in. And I need a bigger spoon. Use a bigger spoon on this. Alright, while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and dump in the vanilla. Pure vanilla extract, okay? If you get a little more than a teaspoon like that, it's okay. So that's probably about a teaspoon and a half. Now you're just going to mash this in to that confectionery sugar. So all it really is 3 cups of confectionery sugar, 1/2 cup of completely melted butter, and if it's still hot, that would be good, and 1 8-ounce pack of cream cheese. Now don't get the fat-free or low-fat, whatever it is, just get the regular cream cheese, because there is a difference in the way it comes out and the way it tastes. And also you probably want to sift your confectionery sugar just to get out any lumps that might be in there. And probably, if I wasn't recording this, I wouldn't even sift mine, because a few lumps in something like this don't bother me at all. I just want it to taste really, really good. Okay, we've about got that incorporated by just mashing it in. Just continue to mash it in. Now, I want to say a word about the little whoopie cakes. They, you know, if they're not all perfectly round, there's not a thing wrong with that. The fact that they're not all perfect is just going to let everybody know they're completely homemade. And, you know, I really think that's what you're looking for. You don't want people to think you bought these somewhere, like at a bakery or something. Okay. Let's beat this a little bit better. Oh, it already smells good. It smells great, in fact. Again, if there's still some lumps in it, don't even worry about it, because it's going to go in between the little cakes, so it's not going to make that much difference. All right, I'm going to get one more spoon out. And now we're ready to fill the little cakes. So, see how that's not perfectly round? Take a little more than a tablespoon. Just put it on there. Take another one that kind of matches it. There you go. Again, they don't have to be perfect. If they've got a few little lumps in them, it's not going to bother anybody because they're going to taste really, really good. There's another one. I'm going to finish filling these and we'll be back. Okay, here they are, milk chocolate whoopie pies. Now these do freeze very well, and we usually just have one like as a dessert after a meal. Of course, if you're really hungry, you could probably eat two, but I would think most people couldn't really eat but one. Now they're not super, super sweet, but this is milk chocolate. All right, we'll see you next time.